Okay, this is part two of the Fulldrive video. The first video I actually only posted it so that I could show my customer what really went down, and I never intended on leaving that video up. I was going to take it down, but I never did, and so I come back and I looked at it, and there's a fair amount of views on the thing, which, I mean, for me anyway, a fair amount of views for some people is 150,000. For me, 95 is. So anyway, I rather than take that one down, what I thought I would do, because I don't explain what was going on in that video. So that's what this one is for. I'm going to explain what happened. And it's an interesting story. At least it might be for some of you if you do this kind of thing. So anyway, I'll start from the beginning. My customer is a music store, and I get a fair amount of work from them, and I really like those people. They're a great customer. In fact, they pay me in cash. How do you beat that? So they give me this stomp box, and I've mentioned it before in other videos. I don't really like working on PC board stuff. I'm not really set up for it, but because of them, I decided, well, I'll take a look, because it's happened before. They asked me to take a look at something, and I'll tell them, no, there's really nothing I can do. And a lot of times it's because the manufacturer won't deal with me. They have their own authorized repair places, and they won't sell me parts. They won't. Yeah. So a lot of times, that's the situation. In this situation, that wasn't the case. So I found out fairly quickly that this 3-pole double throw switch was bad, and that's. So it was not working at all. I had that one set of contacts seemed to be working. That was it. So before I could actually check out any of the other issues with this pedal, I had to fix that. So I got a hold of the manufacturer, and they were located in Texas. They used to be in California, but now they're in Texas. So anyway, I let them know what I needed, because the switch that I'm replacing has a particular nose on it. It's not mounted to the case of the stomp box. It's only mounted to the PC board, but it's just the way the switch is configured, and I didn't want to replace it with what I could get, which from Newark or from DigiKey or from anybody else, was a panel mount with this, with the PC board lugs. So that took a while. In dealing with this company, it was all through email, and it took forever. Finally, about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I get the switch, and it's basically the same switch I could have got from anybody else. So that was a wasted effort in trying to maintain the integrity of the thing, but it didn't. So anyway, most of this video shows me desoldering the old switch, which I'm not really that well set up for working on PC boards. That stupid little solder sucker I have, it works okay, but... So anyway, in the meantime, I'm working on this thing, and the switch comes in, and I replace the switch, and this is where I kind of blame myself. See how this switch goes sideways, back and forth sideways? Well, look at the front of the stomp box. That switch is intended to go up and down, not sideways. And I noticed that when I was putting the new switch in there, that I was having a tough time soldering it. Well, because in the meantime, see, somebody else must have been in here, because what they had done, and we'll find this out later, is that they put a new switch in there, but it was rotated 90 degrees. Now those PC board mount switches will do that. You can rotate them. They're symmetrical. Well, somebody put it in there, and they put it in there 90 degrees off. So I don't know how many times this happened or where this guy got this thing, but I swear if he bought it this way, it never worked. This wasn't something that just happened, unless he took it to a buddy, or I don't know. I really don't know. But he had the switch 90 degrees off, which means none of the wires that are coming in and being switched to any of the other contacts are going in the right place. None of them are. So me not being able to get a hold of a schematic for this, I got the new switch in, and I put it in the same way as the one I took out. And of course, shit didn't work. Plus, I was running into problems. I was trying to get the thing soldered in there, and I was having some difficulty. On these boards, there's solder rings that are attached to the traces. And as I found out after pulling that first switch out, and who knows how many times somebody messed with that, the solder rings came off. So they were no longer in contact with the traces. So when I finally discovered that switch was in there 90 degrees off, I thought, well, that's my fault. I should have figured out which way that switch was supposed to go in. I might have been able to salvage it, but it ruined the board. So the board was no good then. There's no way to salvage that board once all those solder rings that are attached to the traces, there was about 2 or 3 of them that were wiped out. They were gone. They came out with a switch. So that put me in a situation. I trashed out this board, and I never would have found, I couldn't find out whether or not the only thing wrong with it was this switch, because I couldn't fix it. So what I ended up doing was going to Reverb and buying another one of these used and just swapping out, because the one that came in, the pedal box itself, was not in as good a shape as the original one. So I just swapped out the guts and put it in that one. I paid the extra money to do it that way. And when the new box came in, that switch went up and down like it's supposed to, not sideways. So here's why I decided to do it that way. Had I been dealing with a customer directly, I would have been able to explain to him what had happened. Somebody else pretty much screwed this thing up, and I was going to be unable to repair it because of the damage to the board. But the problem I had is my customer is a music store. So I can explain that to them, and they actually understood it. But how are they going to explain that to their customer? I didn't want to put him in that position. Now they're going to have to defend me, and they're going to look bad to their customer because I screwed the damn board up. So that's why I ate the $35 or 40. I forgot what it was. It was right in there someplace. And I got the new parts. I gave it back to him. I charged him the original amount of money that I told him I would charge him for replacing the switch. And the customer ended up getting a functional unit, and I had this nightmare off my desk. I didn't make my customer look bad. They're a great customer, and that was the reason I did what I did. So I'm going to guess that there's some people that would just say, no, you should have just told them from the beginning that it was not your fault. It kind of was, because I didn't know the right way that switch was supposed to be in there, and I tried to put the new switch in wrong, and at least it contributed to ruining that PC board. So rather than make my customer look bad to their customer, it was 35 bucks, I think it cost me. I got paid for the repair, so it cost me money on this one, but I maintained my good relationship with my customer. And that's why I did it. So anyway, thanks for watching this. At least maybe some of you might have an explanation now of what that first video was all about. But anyway, there it is.